All right, so I think I'm recording. Let's take a look at this equation. Well, I was a little bit surprised that when we did this equation in class, that people forgot to put a plus or minus in their solution. So I'm not going to do it on the video the same way I did it in class. Um, I'm going to show you that we can do this equation using your X method, and maybe you'll like that a little bit better. So let's take a look at first what I notice, that if I write down 25 times b squared equals 100, that I can think of 100 as 25 times 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide both sides of this equation by the number 25. 25 divided by 25 is 1, and it's just going to make this equation, the number, smaller and easier for me to work with. So I have b squared is equal to 4. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is rewrite this equation as 1b squared plus 0b. I don't have any b to the first power, and I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides of this equation. So I'm going to make it equal 0 here. Well, now I'm going to apply the X method, and I'm going to factor this. All right. So at the bottom of my X, I write 0b. And at the top of my X, I take the first term times the last term. So now the game begins in the trial and error, that we're trying to come up with two values. When multiplied together, give us the top of our X, the negative 4b squared. But when you add these expressions together, you get 0b. Okay, so with a little bit of trial and error, since the product is negative, one number is going to be positive and the other number negative. Okay, these multiply together to give me negative 4, but they don't add to 0. Well, what about positive 2 and negative 2? That multiplies together to give me negative 4, and it adds together to give me 0. So if I have 2b times a negative 2b and 2b plus a negative 2b, it satisfies what I'm looking for. So I have found it in my X, 2b, and negative 2b. All right, so what we do now is put that information in the form of a table. The table just helps us with factoring. Along one diagonal, we write the first term and the last term of our original equation here, our original expression on the left-hand side. On the other diagonal, we write the information that we found from our X, our 2b and a negative 2b. So if I look horizontally here, these factors have a common factor of 2. If I look vertically here, these have a common factor of negative 2. And across here, these have a common factor of the variable b. And if I look vertically here, same thing, it has a factor of b. Now I can check this real quick, that b times b is b squared, that negative 2 times b is negative 2b, that 2 times b is positive 2b, and 2 times 2 is 4. And so that means that this left-hand side, although it looks different, I can write it with these factors, b plus 2 and b minus 2. Now, I need a little bit more room. Oops, nope, I don't want to do that. I'm still getting used to this software. And I believe that if I lasso this, that I will be able to shrink it to give myself a little bit more room. So see, I guess I can learn new things. All right, I thought I was getting too old to learn new things. I've got this one equation that I can split into two equations. b plus 2 is equal to 0, or b minus 2 is equal to 0, that we have negative 2 and positive 2 as our solutions, and that's choice C. Now, like I say, in class, when I did this, when I got to this b squared is equal to 4, I just simply took the square root of each side. If I take the square root of b squared, then on the right-hand side here, I take the square root of 4. But when you take the square root of a variable, you have to introduce a plus or minus symbol. And I have a lot of students in my college algebra and my pre-AP, pre-calculus, and in Algebra 2 that forget to put that plus or minus 2 there. The square root of b squared is b, and the square root of 4 is 2. So with the plus or minus there, you can see that it's two solutions, 2 or negative 2. But if you forget that plus or minus, and this is a multiple choice test, look here at choice D, you have just 2. So I was having students that were ignoring the plus or minus and just saying the answer was 2, and that's incorrect. So maybe if you do it in a way that you're already familiar with, and that's this X method, it will guarantee to get you the 2 solutions that you're looking for. And with an exponent of 2, that's what we were expecting, was 2 solutions. Now, sometimes they are repeated, so sometimes it will be 2, 2, or 2, and they just write it once when they're listing the solutions. All right, so I hope that helps, and I will talk to you later.